In this video, we're going to take a look at the principles of fitness, also known as the components of fitness. There are two major categories of components of fitness, or principles of fitness. One of them is the 6 health-related components of fitness. The other one are skill-related. We kind of already took a look at the health-related ones, but I want to make sure that we understand these because they are very important to understanding overall health going forward. This picture has them all laid out. We're going to go through each of them specifically at this time. Okay, cardiovascular endurance is the ability of the heart, lungs, blood vessels to deliver oxygen to your body tissues. If you notice, if you've ever run maybe the mile or the pacer, it gets harder as it goes on. That is because your body's ability to deliver oxygenated blood to your muscles becomes hampered over time, especially when you're increasing the intensity when you're talking about the pacer. So cardiovascular endurance is the ability to do an activity for a long time. 20 minutes or more is typically the standard, at least 20 minutes. So again, we're talking about things like running a couple miles, doing a 20-minute run, anything where your heart rate is elevated, usually in the target heart rate zone for at least 20 minutes. Okay, muscular strength. I want to make a big or important distinction here between muscular strength and muscular endurance. Okay, muscular strength is the ability of a muscle group to develop maximum force against resistance in a single contraction. So basically, curling a curl bar, bench pressing, pushing something, lifting something. These are short, quick reps that can go on for a long time, but what we're talking about is just how much force can you apply to an object in a given direction. So if we were talking about lifting heavy weights, fast reps, that type of thing, where it's not going on for a very long time. Muscular endurance, on the other hand, is the ability of a muscle group to exert submaximal force for extended periods. So submaximal meaning not maximum, but still at a very high level. A really good example of this is cycling. I have this in the picture here. In Tour de France, these guys will ride for 100, 150 miles a day. They'll ride through mountains, very, very, very challenging courses that they're doing. They're not strong in the same way a bodybuilder might be strong, where a bodybuilder could bench some high amount of weight. But where they are strong is in their muscular endurance. They can apply force at a higher rate for a long time. So that's really what muscular endurance is the ability not so much to bench press a bunch of weight, but to be able to apply force for an extended period of time. Okay, flexibility. I kind of like this picture. Cats are real flexible. Flexibility is the range of motion of your joints, or the ability for your joints to move freely. Okay, so we're talking about, you think about shoulders, think about hips, things of that nature. That's really what flexibility is. As we age, we lose flexibility, and that can affect our overall health. So it's really important that flexibility is part of what you do from an exercise standpoint. It's easy to go out there and exercise, maybe lift, maybe run, some combination of that, swim, but a lot of times people don't spend the time stretching to help prevent injury and just to ensure overall health as it relates to flexibility. Okay, body composition is a percentage of fat, bone, water, and muscle in human bodies. Okay, so I have a nice chart here. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. You can pause it and take a look at it if you'd like to. But basically, you want to have a healthy body composition. You don't want your body weight to be made up of stored fat, large amounts of stored fat. Everybody's going to have a certain amount of stored fat, and that's a healthy thing. You do want that. It's when you get into the excessive fat storage that's a problem, which is why you want to exercise and have a good diet. Something else to note about body composition is not just focused on stored fat. It really is the other elements, muscle tissue, essential fat, bone, and other organs are important as well. Okay, so that's health related. These are skill related. When we look at these are the kinds of things we look at and say, wow, that person's a really good athlete, or something like that. Okay, these are skill-related components, health and fitness. These are new. We have not looked at these yet. So let's take a look. Okay, agility, right, is the ability to change and control the direction of a person's body while maintaining a constant rapid motion. These guys here are doing what's called a speed ladder, and they're going to do a lot of stepping over, stepping back over, so on and so forth. If you've done the shuttle run's a good measure of agility, the ability to stop, control your body, and change direction in a quick manner. That's really what agility is. Balance, the ability to control, stabilize a person's body, or a body when a person is standing still or moving. So balance, we take that for granted a lot. We walk around all day long, no big deal, no problem. But when you start getting into things like gymnastics, when you start getting into things like maybe even football, if you're a running back and somebody's trying to tackle you and you're able to stay on your feet, that is a measurement of balance. Coordination is the ability to use a sense together with body parts during movement. If you refer to somebody who's very coordinated or uncoordinated is probably a better way to look at it. They tend to accidentally fall over sometimes, or fall out of their chair, or whatever it might be. Coordination is the ability to basically use your brain, your body, your senses to accomplish something. And this here is a really good example. This is a wrestling match. The guy in blue is throwing the guy in red. Very difficult thing to do because that person doesn't necessarily want to be thrown. So to be able to do this demonstrates a high level of coordination. There's a lot of things that have to happen. Hitting a baseball is another good example of this. Shooting archery is another good example of this. The ability to process a target or an obstacle or an object, and to be able to master it in whatever way it might be. It might be hitting a bullseye, whatever it might be. Okay, speed, just pure speed is the ability to move your body or body parts swiftly. Okay, this is a sprinter for Oregon. Speed's very straightforward. This person in particular would be considered fast because he can apply a lot of force to the track. That force allows him to move quickly, which translates into what we know as speed. Speed isn't necessarily the same as agility in the sense that I'm cutting and doing things in different directions. When we think of speed, we're talking about really being able to run in a relative straight line or something along those lines, fast. Another way to think about speed is if you've ever seen the Family Feud, where they're doing the buzzer part of it, where their hand goes from the table to the buzzer fastest. That's another measure of speed. Just how quickly can you accomplish something. Okay, power. Power is the ability to move the body part swiftly while applying maximum force to the muscle. So we want to go back to muscular strength. Muscular strength, right? A good measurement of power is how much force are you applying to that barbell when you're doing a bench press with a lot of weight on it. If you're able to drive that up, that's a good example of power. Another good example of power, going back to cycling. If you think of muscular endurance, this can also apply to that. Those cyclists measure their ability to turn the pedals in terms of wattage, watt power output. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a big, massive guy benching something. It can also be how long you're applying that force on an object, and to the measure to which you're able to do that. Reaction time. This is another good example of this. If you've ever seen track, people start in blocks. Those are the things on the ground. And they put their feet in them, and they wait for the gun. When the gun goes off, they react and begin to run. Their ability to react to that quickly is a great measure of reaction time. Reaction time is the ability to reach or respond quickly to what you hear, see, or feel. So again, it's like anything else. If you happen to be standing talking to somebody on a field and a ball happens to be coming your way, maybe somebody was playing soccer and they kicked it in your direction, accidentally, and you pick it up out of the corner of your eye, how quickly can you turn and catch that ball or knock it down or get out of the way, whatever it might be. So that's reaction time. And this has been the components or principles of health.